Hello everyone, my name is Dylan Hamilton. I am back here yet again with my Far Cry 5 level. Added a bit more stuff. You might have noticed that it might look a little bit different than it was last time, and that's not just because I've added more foliage and uh, completed the field, but it also came to my attention that everything was just way too spread out. The buildings were like too far apart, and the space would have been awkward to try to fill up with set design without making it too obvious that the scale is just way too big. So I went ahead and just brought everything together, made it more compact and easier to just run around and hide behind some of these covers, use some of these spots to the advantage, as well as just added some additional set design here and there. You will notice that there's some places that are not finished, such as this one. I am not really done with this level. I don't plan on being done. I want to work on it, or I plan on working on it more to make it more polished, look nice, and just have something to show off. But overall, the overall layout's still the same, besides some changes to the foliage, the environment, and even like the overall layout. And I want to get into a playthrough of it just to show off the level a bit more. I am accommodating for two different play styles, one being a stealth approach, the other being more of a run and gun
Outpost.
type feel. So I will be starting off this playthrough as a stealth player, and then halfway through switch to a more run and gun type feel. But with this pathway right here, as we can see, there's like a little fork in the road. With this, I wanted to guide the player more, so they can see that there's an additional building up here, and maybe they go for that first, or they can just simply straight up go for the outpost itself. But if they go up here, they'll be able to grab additional stuff that'll help them. See, players can use like this foliage to their advantage. Oop, there we go. Got that second one. There's even an additional vehicle right here that the players can use. It also plays as like some more set design, seeing as to how these enemies got up here. But I've also moved the outpost closer up here since it was way too far away. It was harder to try to get shots in as well as just survey the area. But we still have this little area up here, which is meant to play as like a little scout, like a scouting thing that the resistance had, but obviously it didn't work too well. Even had like additional cover, but overall it just plays an additional set design, as well as having the binoculars, allowing the player know that, well, it's a vantage point. They can use this to just simply look around and see what there is and try to get as much information to plan out their next move. But overall, as you can see, we still like we're able to see everything much better. We still have a couple of alarms that the player could see up here. This one's hidden a little well. It's meant to be like a sneaky, so the player can't directly see it from up here. But we can also see that this little area that I was talking about over here is visible. Like you can still see the top of that hole that you can go through, and I'll even go through it here in a bit. But with all of that, view. another thing is that since this is closer, it makes it harder for the player to simply use this place to their advantage. See, as you can see, the enemies can see me from up here. So they can't just simply just hide up here and snipe till their heart's content. They actually have to go out and about. But let me see. One more attempt, and I fall. But there we go. Over here we have more of this foliage that the player can use to their advantage, and like come like sneak around through this side and like use it as cover as they try to infiltrate this place. But let's see, have the second alarm. Take that out. Players can simply get rid of these alarms. I was found. I went out a little bit too early, but that's okay. There are plenty of places to hide for like if a player actually decides to do some stealth approach. And since they I was able to get the alarms going, they can't really get me. But so you can see right here, it's hidden. So like instead of like the player immediately being seen by the enemy, they can come out, poke their head out, assess the area, and then figure out their next move. But
can't stop until I find it.
ooh, that was a doofer. But there are some areas that you can look around and use as cover. I've also given the player this gun at the start so that they're not struggling with the bow. They can just immediately go for like a run and gun type feel. But there's also additional pickups and for throwables and ammunition that you could use. Let me see. Player can even use the mounted gun to, at their advantage, to simply just shoot up the place. As well as some weapons around here, like shovels that they can use, which will get me to my additional point. So, coming around here and using the buildings to my advantage. There's like some more set design, adding to the theme that this was once a farm. Oh, there's an additional one I didn't see. But even having an additional shovel at your disposal. More pickups. Now with this, this little area, since this is a weapons import area, there's like a bunch of ammo crates or weapons stuff that you can, or the Colt has imported to try to ship out to the other outpost. But we'll also notice, oh, let me ping you real quick. There we go. That there are these walls up there. What you do is you can come up here, and if you come up to this like catwalk up here, come in and find an additional secret that I have up here where there's like a bunch of ammunition, this little safe, pickups, and all that, just to use at your disposal. Stuff that the normal Far Cry outposts tend to have. However, you can't really get to it from down there. I've prevented like any climbing capabilities, so that the player has to come up to this.
Holy shit!
Here we go. We also, if I can get to it, I'll go into the more run and gun type feel, but there's also an additional thing up here.
What the hell's going on around here?
Get to it. Since there's this box truck, like with it being a weapons import outpost, players can come up here and just find another secret by interacting and opening the door, and then just getting a neat little toy that they can use. There we go. That's that outpost done. Now there's some additional stuff that I've done around here, such as, you know, fixing the fields, adding all that stuff. But I've also like added this little background, this little like cliff to make it more reasonable that there's that little jetted out cliff back here. I've even pulled like a little trick, since a lot of this area has like is not planning on being used. I've taken away the mountains and instead made it more of a flat area back here, so that like these trees are covering. There's a simple just line of trees around here that covers like all this back here, and it makes it still look like that there's more environment going on back there, far beyond these cliffs, but yet like when you're down here at the let's say the level that your player will stand at, all it just looks like is that it's just a cliff with more environment going. So it's a neat little trick I try to do to save on the collections and the memory that we see at the top of the screen. Since that area is not really being used much and I don't have anything planned on being up there, just overall just hiding it and having that going. But that is what I have. I do plan on working with the set design a bit more. I want to make this level even better and have it be more realistic as an actual video game level, and put in some more hard work into it. But so far, that's what I have. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next one.